Well, that blue victory streak that we were talking about for the last several months, pretty much the entirety of 1862, has kind of come to an end. We've been dealt a couple of losses here. Hello and welcome to Civil War in Hindsight. And I'm Lieutenant Tommy. With me, as always, is Prospector Johnny. And well, after this whole year of 1862 pretty much being nothing but defeat for the Confederacy and withdrawal for the Confederacy, and at the best, stalemate for Confederacy.
Yeah, we finally ended this terrible war, and
those dirty rebels open up this week with Stonewall Jackson attacking Union forces at Front Royal on the 23rd and then winning. Although, to be fair here, it's not much of a battle, as Jackson moves his 16,000 troops against a Colonel John R. Kenly. Keep that in mind. I said Colonel here because he has a whole regiment of troops underneath him of 800 men. So, 800 versus 16,000, you can't imagine that that's going to go any way but Jackson's victory, which...
I would imagine the only way they're having any sort of skirmish battle or anything is that the 800 men were surprised by the 16,000 coming up. Right away, because otherwise they would see them coming and be like, well, I'm a bounce.
Doesn't take long for Jackson to capture most of that force, although there are some that do escape. Now his goal...
Yeah, the ones who saw them earliest, and they're like, whoop.
Jackson's goal here is to actually cut off and capture Union General Banks' forces before they retreat north to Winchester. So that's Jackson's ultimate goal.
Okay.
On the 24th of May, Jackson attempts to cut off Banks, and both forces are engaged in skirmishing all the way to Winchester, where luckily Banks is able to make it to Winchester without being cut off, and he's able to get his men all secured within Winchester, and all of his supply wagons moved out of Winchester further north to Williamsport before Jackson engages him. So this is the best mission accomplished we can get.
This is like two skirmishes coming together and then just fighting along a road until...
Yes, yeah.
And then
Jackson's
good guys got where they needed to be.
Good guys got where they needed
to be. He didn't cut them off.
No.
And so that's good.
This attack here in this series of battles, or skirmishes, I should say, do cause enough fear in Washington of a possible attack on Washington itself. So Lincoln and his War Department meet and decide that...
But he already has... Does he not already have troops surrounding Washington, keeping anybody
those were
from getting
McDowell's
in?
troops that he sent
They
to
just
help.
didn't like how...
Yeah, those were McDowell's troops that he sent to help McClellan last week.
Okay, so they're kind of thinned out at least.
Yeah, they're not quite in the position that they need to be. So,
okay. So he didn't like how close they were getting.
Exactly.
With 16,000 or by that 10,000, whatever the hell was it, by the time they got there, with thousands and thousands of troops, they didn't like that. Okay.
So the plan of action here is that he's going to order General Fremont in Western Virginia to stop what he's doing and to try to cut off Jackson. McClellan is going to get pissed here because Lincoln is also going to order that McDowell stop his movements towards Richmond and, with I quote here, capture the forces of Jackson and Ewell and move back to them. So McDowell, who's moving south to Richmond, now has to stop and go west to attack Jackson over towards Winchester.
Okay. This seems solid.
Yeah, so the plan here is now we've got Banks in Winchester, we've got Jackson here at Winchester. He wants to move Fremont from the west towards Winchester, and McDowell from the east towards Winchester and surround Jackson.
Yeah, so basically, and then we'll have three armies or whatever coming at him from all directions, and that should be good enough to repel him.
Yes, should wrap it up. On the 25th, Jackson is going to move on Banks' forces at Winchester itself. Jackson, being a religious man, did not want to attack on Sundays. But,
nice.
Opportunities present themselves.
And but he did anyway.
He did anyways.
That's a pretty typical Christian type mentality.
Yep. There you go.
Would hate to do this, but...
Gonna do it anyways.
I kind of like to do it anyway.
Now, Banks does a reasonable job of defending against both Jackson and Ewell's 16,000 combined forces with his only 6.5 thousand men. So he's got 6,500 guys to fight 16,000. Like, he's not going to win this battle. Nobody's expecting him to win this battle.
No, they have 60% more troops than you do.
Yeah. Like, nobody's expecting him to win this. Jackson has started the battle in the early morning fog, where he and Ewell attack the Union left that was positioned behind a nice stone and wood wall. So Banks uses
we had so Stonewall traded sides for a bit.
Just traded sides for a bit. Yep. They are enabled to initially repulse the Confederate advance there. That was until Jackson was able to take a hill on the Union right, bring up artillery in conjunction with Ewell's artillery, creating an enfilade fire on the Union positions. And that's about all she wrote for this battle. And Banks was forced to pull back through the city.
Oh, damn. So, I mean, was that planned? Do you think he's like, we're going to distract him from the left and then attack with some shit from the right and... It
was a combined attack on the city. I mean,
that was
probably
this Stonewall guy. Like, I don't like him. I think
I'll give good tactics here.
No, and that's why I don't like him. Like, he's a little too good.
A little too good.
We're not supposed to have good tactics in this war. Have you not been paying attention up until now? It has been just throw some things at a wall and see what sticks. And now he's like coming up with good plans where he's like, oh yeah, we'll come over here and skirmish him and get them all, whoop, and then cannon fire down into it.
So far we have Jackson, who just doesn't care about human life and will do anything necessary for that, with some good tactics mixed in. And we do have U.S. Grant, who's done a pretty damn good job over out west. So those are our two generals so far that are actually doing things that
sticking
make
out
sense.
A little bit. And maybe can we pair them up? Can we go head to head? Let's just see. That's what we should do. There should be 1 year where you're like bang 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 bang. You pick your best generals, best soldiers. After the end of the year. You're like, one battle, this is it. That's your best, that's your best, these are your best. Let's do it.
I like where you're
And maybe we can do it every year. It can be like a yearly thing. And then we decide whether we're the Confederate States of America or the United States of America.
We'll just do it once.
What if we lose then, Tommy? What if you lose?
Well, then it'll be an every year thing. But if we win, it's just once.
See, that's what I'm saying. You make it an every year thing until you win. And then, Dictator Lincoln came up again. No more of that.
Yeah. There is a brief artillery duel between Union and Confederate guns that allow Banks's troops to retreat on Bowers Hill. So basically, the Union guns on Bower Hill are able to delay enough to allow Banks's troops to retreat. But again, ultimately, numbers are too great. Banks does have to pull back out of Winchester. A Union soldier describes the scene as, and I quote, hell, or at least as good as an imitation as is often produced in the upper world. So basically, this was hell on earth. Don't want to do that again.
As close to hell as you could possibly get on earth. Which I feel like that could be used to describe most war.
Most war, yeah. But good news here, Johnny. Jackson does a rubbish job of pursuing Banks and is unable to capture his forces as they pull back towards Harper's Ferry. So... It's a loss, but a victory?
They weren't captured.
That's a victory.
So it's a victory for them. And you know what? Actually, probably a victory for the South because...
It's a victory for the South. This is the first victory that they've had.
I mean, not capturing was also a victory for the South on account of...
They don't have the food to supply them?
Feed prisoners of war.
Feed them. Well, who says they have to, Johnny? We can just let them starve.
Well, no, I guess that's true. But you assume that they would try to, and they can't even feed their own troops.
I think you might be assuming a bit much in this war, Johnny. Anyways, casualty report, Johnny. Casualty report of the Battle of Winchester.
I'm so sick of these, Tommy. These are.
Yeah, I know. Confederates are going to lose.
The overall is getting stupid high.
Not huge here though, Johnny. Confederates are going to lose 68 killed. 329 wounded and 3 missing, with Union losing 62 killed, 243 wounded, and 1,714 missing or captured, although a lot of these guys actually are just missing and are going to rejoin their regiments later on in the week.
They just got lost in the mountains, likely, right?
Well, it's kind of a retreat/route, so they're like, hooray, and then they find each other eventually.
Right.
While this is going on, Lincoln is going to write McClellan saying that, and I quote, I think
You're fired.
Yeah, well, not quite.
Damn it!
I think the time is near when you must either attack Richmond or give up the job and come to the defense of Washington. I mean,
hey, Lincoln,
fire him.
you're 2 months too late. All
Fire
right,
him.
figure it out. This feels like I'm sure that Lincoln and McClellan aren't related. But this feels like a nepotism thing where Daddy hired his son to work in the factory or whatever, and his son's been absolute shit the entire time, and everyone's like, you gotta fire him, gotta fire him, gotta fire him, and he's like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And he's like, all right, guys, listen. If you don't start doing something, you're gonna get fired, because otherwise they're gonna literally chop my head off.
Well, Johnny, I think it might you're on it right there. But in any case, to sum it up, this is a months-long campaign where McClellan has engaged in 0 actual battles. Skirmishes, yes. 0 actual battles. Yes, he got Yorktown, but that was through a siege. That was like weeks long.
It was a little bit.
At one point, his numbers tripled that of anything the Confederates could put in the field. Like, you could have taken the entire Confederate army at that point, even losing
Yorktown,
half your men. You could have still taken it.
I'm gonna say it. It felt like an accident.
Yeah.
It felt like he didn't mean
him
to
taking
take
Yorktown?
It.
Oh, yeah, that was
yeah.
That was just because they left. He took
just
Yorktown
happened to,
left.
and he was like, "Oh shit!" So that's why you said conspiracy earlier in the episode. So here we go. McClellan's a fucking traitor.
He might be.
He's a Southern sympathizer that got put in charge, and he's a double agent, spy, whatever. I don't know what all that shit is.
He might be,
but
Johnny.
he is not. He is not for the Union. There's no way he can be after everything he's not done.
Not done, exactly. On the 26th of May, Johnny McClellan is going to continue to do nothing, with Banks' forces secure in Williamsport, and both Fremont and McDowell getting very near to Jackson's forces. Lincoln is once again going to telegraph McClellan saying, and I quote, "Banks is safe in Williamsport. What impressions have you as to the entrenchments works for you and content with in front of Richmond? Can you get near enough to throw shells into the city?" So basically he's saying here, Banks is now safe.
Yeah.
He's got the reinforcements he needs. We're
don't worry
probably
about
going to
that.
surround Jackson.
We're good.
What are you doing with Richmond? Can you at least start putting some shells into the capital of Richmond? Can
Could
you do
you?
something to distract the Confederacy and maybe pull Jackson back or
Get close
something?
enough to do the
Anything.
thing.
Can you do
Yeah.
anything at this point? On the 27th of May...
And did McClellan say, he's like, nah.
Nah, he pretty much he said, nah, I'm not going to do that.
That's
the May, Jackson begins pushing... Jackson begins pushing north towards Harper's Ferry, with Fremont and McDowell getting ever closer to Jackson. Way over in Corinth, Johnny, it's just still a siege.
You're just chilling out in Mississippi.
Just chilling out, sieging, yep. On the 28th of May, there is finally some good news here, again in the north, as Union forces destroy Confederate supplies in Ashland, Virginia, and a bridge on the Virginia Central Railroad on South Anna is destroyed.
There we
go. Destroying
go.
some bridges, taking some supplies. Good
Get the
on us,
railroads.
finally.
I mean, disrupt their railroad. Their railroads are just a
Garbage
mess
anyways.
enough. And then, you destroy a couple bridges, and now, that's it. That would be it. Get the rail system offline.
There is great anticipation in both Corinth and Richmond for an impending battle, with both presidents being disappointed in inaction. Traitor President Davis has ordered...
All right. So we got a couple of dictators up here being like, "Oh, I don't like that a bunch of peasants aren't killing each other."
Yep. That's exactly it, Johnny. Traitor President Davis has ordered Joseph Johnston to assault McClellan's forces, which he hasn't. And Lincoln is still waiting for McClellan to shit or get off the pot.
To do something.
Which he hasn't.
Which, I'm sorry, I'm going to stop being mad at McClellan at this point, because he is what he is.
Dude should have been fired.
I'm mad at Lincoln now.
Yeah. You should have
Fix
fired him.
it.
Yeah. That's all on Lincoln. And Johnny, this week is going to end on the 29th of May with Jackson demonstrating near Harper's Ferry. But what he doesn't know is that Fremont has come behind him from the west with 15,000 men. And McDowell has come behind him from the east with 20,000 men. And Banks is still just north and has regrouped 5,000 men. So of his 6.5 thousand, he's regrouped 5,000 of them and is ready to continue his defense, I guess, or could aid in an attack.
Right, these are the good guys, right?
These are all the
surrounding.
Good guys. Yep. Banks, McDowell, and Fremont have all combined forces there. That's 40,000 men against Jackson's 16. So pretty good numbers.
This should be quick.
Actually, closer to 15 now after that battle where he lost
not a
substantial, but he lost
and everything. But every little bit counts, especially when it's 40,000 you're coming against. So this is it for Stonewall Jackson, right? Like we're gonna see the end of it in the next couple of weeks. It's gonna be
we'll have to wait.
Hey, bud, you had a cool nickname and everything, but
we'll have to wait till next week to see if Jackson can get his way out of it. But over in Corinth, Johnny, General U.S. Grant has been approached by Union railmen and his scouts who say that they have received reports that the Confederates are pulling out of Corinth and taking everything with them. They say that the Union troops need to attack now, and if they do, they can easily destroy the entire Confederate army there at Corinth and cut off the retreating Confederates.
Yes. Let's go!
The Union railmen have confirmed these reports by literally putting... I'll trust them because they're railmen, and I've never worked on the rail, so I don't know. But they put their ear to the rail, and they say that due to the vibrations, they can tell that the incoming trains are lighter than the outgoing trains, which would indicate that, they're moving troops out, and nothing's coming back in.
Yeah, I met some of the native folks that do the same type of thing out here. Unfortunately, they can't hear gold, but people, they've got that skill. They got that skill. It's something.
Grant sends this information to General Halleck, who is convinced that the Confederates are receiving reinforcements, as when every train arrives into Corinth, the Confederates cheer as if more men are coming in. So Halleck says, nope, we're going to stay in our rifle lines, even though that Pope up north has, taken over Farmington and then had to be pulled back, and taken over Farmington and had to be pulled back, and taken over Farmington and had to be pulled back, and then, taken over Farmington and had to be pulled back.
Got it again,
So we're just going to not do anything and just going to sit here and wait. So we'll have to see what happens next week, if Grant was right or not, and if Jackson gets cut off and has to surrender. That's it for this week in Civil War in Hindsight. If you enjoy Civil War in Hindsight, check out Historic Hindsight. We talk about all kinds of fun things, like how Cleveland thought it was a good idea to issue a 10-cent beer night, which went horribly, horribly awry, because who would have ever thought 10 cent would have led to a drunken riot?